Have you ever wondered who truly discovered America? Long before Columbus set sail, a diverse world thrived, the world of Native Americans. From the icy bridges of the Ice Age to vibrant civilizations, these first Americans forged a story far richer than often told. Join us as we unveil the tapestry of their ancestry, migrations, and the birth of civilizations that reshaped history. The first Americans, ancestry, and migration. The story of the Native Americans is a saga etched deep into the very soil of the American continent, a narrative that predates any European footprint. This tale begins thousands of years ago during a period when the Earth was clasped in the icy grip of the last ice age. It was a time when vast sheets of ice stretched across the northern hemisphere, and the world was a vastly different place than we know it today. Imagine for a moment a world where mammoths roamed and vast expanses of ice connected continents. This was the stage upon which the first Americans made their entrance. Historians and archaeologists believe that these pioneering people, the ancestors of modern Native Americans, embarked on an incredible journey from Asia to the Americas. But how, you might ask, did they manage such a feat? The answer lies in a remarkable natural bridge known as Beringia. Beringia was a land bridge that connected what is now Siberia and Alaska. During the Ice Age, sea levels were much lower, exposing this passage and offering a route for human migration. These intrepid explorers, driven perhaps by curiosity or necessity, ventured across this frozen link into a new world. The exact timeline of this migration remains a subject of debate among scientists, but it is widely accepted that this journey happened more than 12,000 years ago. Once in Alaska, these early adventurers found themselves in a land teeming with life and opportunities. Gradually, as the Ice Age waned and the glaciers retreated, new pathways opened up. These early Americans began a gradual, generations-spanning migration that would see them spread across the vastness of the American continents. As they moved, these people adapted to a multitude of environments, from the dense forests of the north to the sprawling plains and deserts of the south. Each new habitat presented its own challenges and opportunities, shaping the cultures and lifestyles of the people who settled there. For example, in areas rich in wildlife, tribes became adept hunters and gatherers, while in regions conducive to agriculture, they turned to farming. One of the most fascinating aspects of this migration is the linguistic diversity it spawned. As groups settled in different areas, isolated by mountains, rivers, and deserts, their languages evolved separately. This led to the incredible linguistic diversity that we see among Native American tribes. Scholars estimate that at the time of European contact, there were over 200 different languages, grouped into around 120 linguistic families. This diversity is a testament to the adaptability and ingenuity of these early peoples. The migration and settlement patterns also led to the rise of various tribal societies and civilizations. In what is now the United States, it is believed that between 10 to 18 million people lived, belonging to about 600 different tribes. These tribes had their unique customs, social structures, and ways of life. In the Southwest, for instance, tribes like the Hopi and Navajo developed complex agricultural societies, while the Great Plains were home to nomadic tribes who mastered horseback riding and bison hunting. Diverse tribes and languages, a mosaic of cultures. When you think of America, what often comes to mind is a melting pot of cultures. But long before it earned this modern title, the continent was already a vibrant mosaic, rich in diverse tribes and languages. This diversity wasn't by accident, but a result of thousands of years of migration, adaptation, and evolution. Let's start with a staggering fact. When Europeans first set foot on the American continent, they encountered a world where over 600 distinct tribes lived, speaking about 350 different languages and dialects. These weren't just variations of a few tongues, but entirely different languages, as distinct as, say, English is from Mandarin. This linguistic diversity is a window into the deep-rooted cultural richness of Native American societies. Each tribe developed its unique culture, shaped by the environment they lived in and the resources available to them. For instance, the tribes of the Pacific Northwest, like the Haida and Tlingit, were master woodworkers and fishermen, thriving in the rich forests and coastal waters. Their totem poles, a well-known cultural symbol, weren't just art. They were stories and ancestral records carved in wood. Contrast this with the tribes of the Great Plains, like the Sioux and Comanche. These tribes were known for their horseback riding skills and nomadic lifestyle, following the great herds of bison. Their tipis, easily collapsible and transportable homes, were a testament to their mobile way of life. They were not just shelters, but symbols of a life in harmony with the ebbs and flows of nature. In the arid Southwest, tribes like the Hopi and Navajo developed intricate methods of dry farming, coaxing crops from the harsh land. Their homes, often built into the sides of cliffs or as multi-story structures, speak volumes about their ingenuity and resilience in the face of challenging environments. Now let's talk about the cultural practices that made each tribe unique. Many tribes had distinct spiritual beliefs and practices, often tied to the natural world around them. The Iroquois, for instance, practiced a Thanksgiving ceremony known as the Green Corn Festival, celebrating the harvest and the earth's bounty. Similarly, the Navajos' intricate sand paintings were not just art, but a spiritual practice used in healing ceremonies. But it wasn't all about survival and spirituality. There was room for leisure and entertainment, too. Games and sports were an integral part of Native American cultures. Lacrosse, for instance, originated among the Eastern Woodlands tribes and the Great Plains tribes. It was more than a game. It was a spiritual quest and a means to resolve conflicts. The cultural diversity of Native American tribes also extended to their governance structures. Some, like the Iroquois Confederacy, had sophisticated democratic systems that would later inspire the founding fathers of the United States. Others had more decentralized systems of governance, with decisions made by consensus among the community's elders. Now, imagine this diversity being interconnected by trade networks, spreading ideas, goods, and cultural practices across the continent. These networks were the internet of their time, transmitting information and connecting diverse groups in a web of economic and social exchange. They facilitated the spread of technologies, like the bow and arrow, and crops, like maize, across different tribes and regions. It's crucial to understand that this diversity was not static. It was dynamic and continually evolving. Tribes adapted to new challenges, whether environmental, social, or brought on by contact with Europeans. This adaptability was their strength, allowing them to thrive in a constantly changing world. Great Plains tribes, warriors and nomads. Picture the vast rolling grasslands of the Great Plains stretching under a vast sky. This was the domain of some of the most iconic Native American tribes, groups known for their fierce warrior culture, nomadic lifestyle, and deep connection with the bison. The Great Plains tribes, including the Sioux, Cheyenne, and Comanche, have a story that is as wide and sweeping as the plains themselves. Life on the Great Plains was not for the faint-hearted. It demanded resilience, adaptability, and a profound understanding of the natural world. The tribes of this region were master horsemen, skilled hunters, and astute warriors. The introduction of horses, brought by the Spanish in the 16th century, transformed their way of life. It revolutionized travel, hunting, and warfare, making the Plains tribes some of the most formidable horseback riders and bison hunters in history. The bison, or American buffalo, was the lifeblood of these tribes. It provided them with food, clothing, shelter, and tools. Almost every part of the animal was used. The tribes followed the migratory patterns of these massive herds, moving their camps to ensure a steady food supply. This nomadic lifestyle was facilitated by their dwellings, the tipi, a cone-shaped tent made of bison hides stretched over wooden poles. Easy to set up and dismantle, the tipi was perfectly suited to their mobile way of life. But life on the plains wasn't just about survival. It was rich in culture, tradition, and spirituality. The Plains tribes held a deep spiritual connection with the natural world, seeing themselves as part of a larger ecosystem. Ceremonies and rituals were an essential part of their cultural and spiritual life. The sun dance, for instance, was a significant ceremony among many Plains tribes. It was a time of renewal and spiritual reaffirmation, involving days of dancing, fasting, and sometimes ritual piercing. The warrior culture of these tribes is legendary. Acts of bravery and skill in battle were highly valued. Warriors earned feathers for their deeds, which they wore with pride. Leaders like Crazy Horse, Sitting Bull, and Red Cloud are still revered for their courage, wisdom, and resistance against encroachment by European settlers and the U.S. government. Yet, the warrior ethos was about more than physical prowess. It was also about leadership, protection, and responsibility to the tribe. It was a role that encompassed not just fighting skills, but also wisdom, spiritual depth, and a deep understanding of the tribe's traditions and customs. The social structure of the Plains tribes was complex and varied. While men were primarily responsible for hunting and warfare, women played a crucial role in the society. They were in charge of the home, including assembling and disassembling the tipis, cooking, and processing the bison hides. Women were also integral in the social and religious life of the tribe, with many stories, songs, and ceremonies passed down through the matriarchal line. Children were cherished in these societies and were raised with the tribe's collective wisdom and knowledge. They learned the skills necessary for survival and the cultural traditions of their people from a young age. Respect for elders was a cornerstone of their culture, with elders revered as keepers of wisdom and tradition. Southwestern tribes, farmers, and builders. The American Southwest, a region of stark beauty and contrasting landscapes, was the cradle of some of the most resourceful Native American tribes. Here, amidst the arid deserts and rugged mountains, tribes like the Hopi, Navajo, and Apache carved out an existence and left an indelible mark on the cultural and architectural landscape of North America. To begin with, the Southwest tribes were masterful in their adaptation to the challenging desert environment. Their survival and prosperity in such harsh conditions speak volumes about their ingenuity and resilience. The key to their success lay in their sophisticated farming techniques and architectural skills, honed over centuries. The Hopi and the Puebloans, for instance, were adept at dry farming, cultivating crops in conditions with minimal rainfall. They developed intricate irrigation systems, using every available drop of water to nurture crops like corn, beans, and squash. These agricultural practices were not just about growing food. They were intertwined with their spiritual beliefs, with ceremonies and rituals closely linked to the agricultural cycle. But perhaps what stands out most vividly in the legacy of the Southwestern tribes is their architecture. The Puebloans, ancestors of the modern Hopi and Zuni, are renowned for their impressive cliff dwellings and multi-storied adobe structures. Places like Mesa Verde and Chaco Canyon stand as testaments to their architectural genius. These were not just homes, they were complex communities with rooms for living, storage, and ceremonies, all built with an astounding understanding of their natural surroundings. The Navajo, another prominent tribe of the Southwest, were traditionally more nomadic, known for their sheep herding and weaving skills. However, they too developed a unique architectural style, exemplified in their hogans. The hogan, a dome-shaped dwelling made of logs and mud, was central to Navajo culture, serving both as a family home and a sacred space for rituals. The Apache, on the other hand, were known for their mobility and strategic prowess in warfare. Their dwellings, called wickiups, were made of wooden poles and brushwood, designed for easy assembly and disassembly. This mobility was a crucial adaptation to their lifestyle, which involved frequent movement for hunting, gathering, and raiding. Social and cultural life in these tribes was rich and varied. The Puebloans, for instance, had a matrilineal society, with descent and inheritance traced through the mother's line. They also had a complex ceremonial calendar with rituals and dances that played a vital role in their community life. The Kachina dances, for instance, were not just beautiful performances, but also a way of teaching and passing down their beliefs and history. Navajo society, meanwhile, was organized around clans, with strong bonds of kinship and loyalty. Their art, particularly weaving and silverwork, is renowned for its intricacy and beauty. These were not merely crafts, but expressions of their culture, stories woven into fabric and molded into metal. The spiritual beliefs of the southwestern tribes were deeply rooted in their environment. They saw the land as sacred, with every element, from the sun and rain to the mountains and rivers, holding spiritual significance. This deep respect for nature was reflected in their stewardship of the land, ensuring its health and fertility for future generations. The Iroquois Confederacy, a model of democracy. In the dense forests of what is now the northeastern United States and southeastern Canada, a unique and sophisticated form of government emerged among the Native American tribes known as the Iroquois Confederacy. Also known as the Haudenosaunee, meaning people of the Longhouse, the Confederacy was a powerful alliance of 6 tribes: the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and later the Tuscarora. This confederation not only thrived as a robust political entity, but also served as a model of democracy and unity that influenced the founding principles of the United States. The Iroquois Confederacy's origins are rooted in legend and history, with a widely held belief that it was formed through the efforts of 2 leaders, Daganoweda and Hiawatha, in the 15th or 16th century. The aim was to bring an end to intertribal conflict and create a unified body for peace and mutual defense. The result was a remarkably democratic and sophisticated political system that united the tribes while preserving their individual autonomy. At the heart of the Confederacy's governance was the Great Law of Peace, a constitution that outlined the principles and structure of their government. This law established a Grand Council, comprising representatives or chiefs from each member tribe, who were selected by the clan mothers. The clan mothers held significant power, including the right to nominate and remove chiefs, reflecting a balance of power and respect for women's roles in their society. The council operated on a consensus basis, with decisions requiring the agreement of all members. This system fostered a culture of discussion, debate, and compromise, ensuring that all voices were heard and considered. The emphasis was on achieving unity and a collective good, rather than on individual or tribal dominance. The structure of the Iroquois Confederacy was highly organized. Each nation had its defined role and responsibilities within the Confederation. The Onondaga Nation, known as the Firekeepers, were responsible for hosting the Grand Council meetings. The Mohawk and Seneca were considered the keepers of the eastern and western doors, guarding the Confederacy against external threats. This organization created a sense of unity and interdependence among the diverse member nations. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Iroquois Confederacy was its influence on modern democratic ideas. Many historians and scholars believe that the principles embodied in the Great Law of Peace influenced the framers of the United States Constitution. The concepts of federalism, representative government, and checks and balances present in the Iroquois system can be seen in the American governmental structure. The Iroquois were not only astute in governance, but also in diplomacy and trade. They established extensive trade networks and diplomatic relations with other Native American tribes and European settlers. The Confederacy skillfully navigated the complex political landscape of colonial North America, maintaining their sovereignty and territory through strategic alliances and negotiations. Culturally, the Iroquois Confederacy was rich and vibrant. Their spiritual beliefs were deeply connected to nature, and they held various ceremonies and festivals throughout the year, aligned with the agricultural cycle. The Iroquois also had a rich oral tradition, with stories, legends, and histories passed down through generations, preserving their cultural identity and heritage. Despite their strengths and sophistication, the Iroquois Confederacy faced significant challenges. particularly with the arrival of European colonists. The pressures of land encroachment, disease, and the fur trade tested the unity and resilience of the Confederacy. However, they adapted to these changes, often using their diplomatic skills to navigate the turbulent times. Mesoamerican and Andean civilizations, the height of indigenous achievement. In the tapestry of Native American history, the civilizations of Mesoamerica and the Andes stand out for their astonishing achievements in various fields. These civilizations, including the Maya, Aztec, and Inca, developed complex societies and made significant advancements in agriculture, architecture, astronomy, and art, leaving a legacy that continues to fascinate the world. The Maya, flourishing in what is now Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, and Honduras, were among the most advanced civilizations of their time. Renowned for their spectacular pyramids, such as those at Chichen Itza and Tikal, the Maya were also intellectual giants. They developed a sophisticated understanding of astronomy, as evident in their intricate calendars. Their long-count calendar, which tracks vast cycles of time, is a testament to their deep cosmic understanding. One of the most remarkable achievements of the Maya was the development of a complete writing system. Using glyphs, they recorded their history, beliefs, and scientific knowledge in elaborate codices. This system of writing was among the most sophisticated in the pre-Columbian Americas and allowed them to preserve a rich historical and mythological tradition. In the Valley of Mexico, the Aztec civilization emerged as a dominant force, known for its military prowess and architectural marvels. The capital city, Tenochtitlan, was a marvel of urban planning and engineering. Built on an island in Lake Texcoco, it featured a complex network of canals, causeways, and bridges, showcasing the Aztecs' impressive architectural and engineering skills. The Aztecs were also known for their advanced agricultural techniques, such as the chinampas, or floating gardens, which allowed them to cultivate crops on the lake's surface. This innovation significantly increased agricultural output, supporting a large population. Their society was highly structured, with a central government led by an emperor, a powerful military, and a complex religious hierarchy. The Aztecs are often remembered for their religious practices, which included elaborate ceremonies and rituals, some of which involved human sacrifice. These practices, though often misunderstood, were integral to their cosmology and worldview. In the rugged terrain of the Andes, the Inca civilization built the largest empire in pre-Columbian America. At its height, the empire stretched from present-day Colombia to Chile and Argentina. The Incas are perhaps best known for their extraordinary engineering feats, including the construction of Machu Picchu, a stunning architectural site set high in the Andes. The Inca road system, a network of over 25,000 miles of roads and bridges, connected the vast empire, facilitating communication, trade, and military movement. This system is a testament to their engineering skills and their ability to integrate diverse regions and peoples. In agriculture, the Incas excelled in terrace farming, which allowed them to cultivate crops on the steep slopes of the Andes. This technique not only maximized arable land area, but also helped in soil conservation and water management. The Inca society was highly organized, with a centralized government under the rule of the Sapa Inca. They developed a unique system of record-keeping, the quipu, which used knotted strings to record information, ranging from census data to historical events. This system was integral to the administration of their vast empire. Mapuches and other southern tribes, resilience and resistance. In the southern reaches of the American continent, indigenous peoples crafted unique cultures, adapted to diverse landscapes, and fiercely resisted European colonization. Among these, the Mapuche people of Chile and Argentina stand out for their unwavering spirit of resistance and resilience. The Mapuche, whose name means people of the earth, have inhabited the southern part of South America for centuries, primarily in what is now Chile and parts of Argentina. They are known for their formidable resistance against the Spanish conquistadors, a struggle that lasted for over 3 centuries. This resistance led to the signing of a treaty in the 17th century, a rare acknowledgement of indigenous sovereignty by a European colonial power. Mapuche society was organized into small autonomous communities called LOF, led by a chief known as a lonco. They were primarily agriculturalists, cultivating maize, potatoes, and beans, but also engaged in hunting and gathering. The Mapuche are renowned for their silverwork and weaving, particularly their colorful textiles known as mapucho. Central to Mapuche culture is the role of the Machi, a spiritual leader and healer. The Machi holds a pivotal place in Mapuche society, conducting religious ceremonies, healing rituals, and serving as a bridge between the physical and spiritual worlds. Their spiritual beliefs are deeply connected to nature, with a strong emphasis on the balance and harmony between humans and the natural world. Further east, in the regions that are now Paraguay, Brazil, and Argentina, lived the Guarani people. They were semi-nomadic, skilled in agriculture, and known for their profound spiritual beliefs. The Guarani cultivated various crops, but perhaps their most famous contribution is the cultivation and use of yerba mate, a traditional South American brew. The Guarani had a rich oral tradition, with stories and myths that explain the origins of the world and their place in it. They believed in a land without evil, where people could live in harmony and abundance, a belief that significantly influenced their interactions with the Jesuit missionaries in the 17th century. In the Andean highlands, the Aymara and Quechua peoples developed societies adept at mountain life. They are known for their sophisticated agricultural terracing techniques, which allowed them to farm in the challenging Andean environment. The Aymara, centered around Lake Titicaca, developed a culture deeply intertwined with the high-altitude landscape. They are known for their brightly colored textiles, which carry significant cultural and spiritual meanings. The Quechua, closely related to the Incas, are spread across several Andean countries. They maintain a strong connection to their Inca heritage, particularly in their language, Quechua, which was the lingua franca of the Inca Empire and is still widely spoken today. One of the defining characteristics of these southern tribes is their resilience in the face of European colonization. The Mapuche, in particular, are noted for their successful military strategies against the Spanish. They adapted to the changing circumstances, adopting horses and European weapons to bolster their resistance. Similarly, the Guarani, Aymara, and Quechua navigated the complexities of colonial rule, adapting to new realities while striving to preserve their cultural identities. The Guarani, for instance, found a degree of protection in the Jesuit missions, which became unique cultural hubs blending indigenous and European influences. Today, these tribes continue to fight for their rights, lands, and cultural preservation. The Mapuche, for instance, are actively involved in land rights disputes in Chile and Argentina. They have also been at the forefront of revitalizing their language and cultural practices. The Aymara and Quechua peoples continue to maintain their traditions, while also engaging with the modern world. Their festivals, such as the Inti Raymi, Festival of the Sun, are celebrated with vibrant costumes, music, and dance, drawing on deep historical roots.